It's Wednesday, December 17th at 7:02 PM, and I will call the Manchester Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded. I have with me in the room from the board, Colleen Moore, Georgia Pendergast, Sean Zahn, and John Benares. I believe and Brian Hollisey is a liaison from the select board, and I believe that Sue Philbrook is on, who's the liaison from the planning department. Planning board. She has a flu, so she stayed home. The first item on the agenda is the continued application for 48 Norwood Ave. I believe Veronica.
Yeah. So I'm in via Zoom tonight. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I need to open the continued
Okay.
I move to open the continued public hearing for the application of David and Jane Metrano for a special permit under sections 9.1.3 and 12.5 of the zoning bylaw, and other relief as may be necessary to construct a 1,086 square foot large ADU and variances under sections 9.1.3 and 12.3.3, and other relief as may be necessary to construct a large ADU in District D1, which encroaches into the primary side and rear setbacks at 48 Norwood Ave, Assessor's Map number 50, lot number 19 in District D1, filed with the town clerk on October 16th, 2025. Do I have a second to open the continued public hearing?
Okay.
Georgia seconds. Roll call vote. Colleen? Yes. Georgia?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
And Sarah votes yes. I received an email this afternoon, and I had conversations several weeks ago, that the applicants have requested to withdraw their application without prejudice, as they will construct the accessory structure as presented with a kitchenette without a stove, rather than the full kitchen. Since it meets the setback requirements for an accessory structure, and they are not seeking approval for a large ADU, no special permit or variance is required. A quirk of our bylaws. Veronica, do you have anything to add?
I do not. Thank you, Sarah.
Any questions from the board or comments? I move to close the public hearing and at the request of the applicant, approve the withdrawal without prejudice of the above referenced application. Do I have a second?
Second.
Georgia seconds. Any discussion? I'll take a vote. Colleen?
Yes.
Georgia?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Next, I think I'm gonna just order the agenda and take the new applications next before we do the continued public hearing for 22 Union Street. So the next application is an application for 38 C Street, requesting a special permit to expand a screened porch and add decks. I move to open the public hearing for the application of Nicole Arvanites. I'm sure I screwed that up. Of Wanasquam Home Design LLC on behalf of Catherine Taylor and George Langendorf for a special permit under section 7.2 and 12.5 of the zoning bylaw, and other relief as may be necessary to expand a non-conforming dwelling which encroaches into the front and rear setbacks on a non-conforming lot by expanding a screen porch, replacing a patio with a deck, and adding a second floor deck at 38 C Street, Assessor's Map number 15, lot number 37 in District E, filed with the town clerk on November 17th, 2025. Do I have a second to open the public hearing?
Second.
Take a vote. John,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
and Sarah said yes. Okay.
I know.
Nicole, are you on to present the application?
Yes, I am on Zoom.
Great. Could you explain what the proposed project is?
Sure. Do you want me to share my screen or do you guys have all the handouts in front of you?
I think we have everything in front of us.
Okay, great. So on the first sheet, which is the site plan, you can see the existing setback of the existing screen porch that we are looking to expand is existing non-conforming. It's the 29.6 foot setback there to the corner of the rear the rear screen porch. And we are looking to increase that nonconformity by expanding that screen porch to the new 23 foot setback to the rear property line. So that's kind of a first phase of it. The other portion of this proposal is that there is a rear brick patio that we're looking to remove and replace with a proposed wood deck. So that changes the kind of impervious calculation where we're removing an impervious surface and replacing it with a rain-through deck. And then the third part of this is on the front of the home where there's an existing deck on that on the front right corner of the home in the site plan. On the second floor, we're looking to expand and build a new second floor deck. So it's over the existing deck by about half of that footprint. So we are keeping the same setback, but we are increasing the nonconformity of that by increasing the height of that second floor proposed deck. If you want to look at the existing partial floor plans, EX 101, the first floor plan, the majority of the work on the right, you can see the existing screen porch in the rear of the home that opens up to that brick patio hatch. And then the labeled front deck is where the second floor deck will be proposed above. So this is all the existing. And if you look at the existing building elevations on EX 201, you can see the front of the home, which faces east, is the existing building elevation east, elevation number 2. That shows kind of the majority of what the proposed scope is that we're looking at, what the existing condition is now, where you have on the left that first floor open deck, and then the front door under the a shed roof. And then to the right of that front door is the existing screen porch. If you jump to the page 5, the proposed building elevations, that same elevation, but now proposed, you can see we are looking to expand the deck to the rear and about 2'4" to the east as well, to not only give some more interior space to the screen porch, but also give us this ability to create a gable roof over the front entry door to really bring some hierarchy to the front of the home. And then you can see on the left-hand side there, that's that second floor proposed roof deck over the existing deck that we're proposing. So in the floor plan on A101, you can see kind of the dashed line of the existing screen porch and how we are expanding it 2 feet to the right, 2'4" to the right, and then out to the back. And then this rain-through deck that we are proposing as well. So this touches on not just setbacks for what we're seeking relief on. We're seeking relief on the rear setback and this front setback that we're existing non-conforming on this existing non-conforming lot. But we're also, as a result of the structure of the proposed deck, where we are increasing the lot coverage by structure from the existing and impervious areas. Oh, sorry, we're decreasing actually because we are replacing a patio, which is impervious, with the deck. We are actually decreasing the actual overall impervious area of lots of lot coverage by structure and impervious areas. But when you're just looking at the lot coverage by structure, we're actually increasing it from 18.6% to 25%. And I apologize. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense.
Yep, no. Questions from the board?
No.
I think we, Colleen and I did go on the site visit. And the, deck is, there's kind of woods in the back, trees in the back, behind the deck, and the house is, if you're familiar with C Street, it's right along the street. It's an old house right along the street.
No, I think the plans, they look nice and it's a good plan.
I agree.
Do you have any questions, John?
No.
John? Are there any members of the public who wish to be heard on this application? Anybody in the room? Anybody on Zoom? If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. When we were on the site visit, the homeowner was there and she did say she'd had a conversation with her neighbors who supported the project. Anything else?
That's, I think it looks nice.
With that, I'll make a motion.
Could I ask one question before you make the motion?
Yes, who is this?
This is George Langendorf. I'm the homeowner along with my wife,
Okay.
Kate, who we had one question, which was if we were to not remove the brick patio, but just build the deck over it, in case everything in the house is working drainage wise perfectly right now, and it might be sort of just cheaper and less impactful to just build the deck over what's existing. And I guess that would impact what Nicole just said about the permeability, but we wondered, and I certainly don't want to derail anything here, whether it would be okay I mean, we'd still build the footings in, so some of the brick patio would come up, but just to build the deck sort of over the existing brick without removing all the brick necessarily.
The board is generally pretty strict on coverage requirements. So I think it would be a challenge. If you leave the patio, then you're going to be increasing your total coverage by structures and impervious surface. Because the patio is impervious, whereas the deck that's being built is pervious.
I see.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, John.
Is the patio laid over concrete or is it dry laid?
I don't know.
Do you hear the question, George?
Is the brick patio laid over concrete? Is that the question?
Is it a dry laid patio, like with stone dust in between, or is it like with concrete?
It's it's stone dust in between. I know that because I tried to power wash it and I power washed out all of the grout in between the bricks accidentally. So it's not.
So it's really doesn't really. I don't think it really matters then.
Okay.
In my mind, they're already non-conforming on the impervious surface coverage. It would have been an option to reduce that. I don't think there's a harm in them maintaining that non-conformity they already have. It sounds like they are going to reduce it a little bit by removing some of the patio for the posts.
But the deck is larger than the patio.
But it sounds like the deck's impervious is the way it was proposed.
No, the deck is being proposed as pervious. A rain-through deck.
No, exactly, yeah, but if it's going over the impervious patio, but in my mind, the patio is kind of impervious. What I'm saying is they're already non-conforming for having too much impervious surface. So if they had a pervious surface over the existing non-conforming impervious and reduce it a little bit,
They're saying the existing patio is impervious.
yes.
And so you're increasing the size of your structure
on top of that.
by, 700 square feet. So you're increasing your coverage by
Mm.
structures from 18.6 up to 25%. So by eliminating the patio, you're bringing down the total a little bit. Otherwise, you're gonna be pushing that up above the existing 30% by 700 square feet, which is quite a bit, I think. I mean, I think there's always an issue with patios, whether they're pervious or not.
I mean, it's one thing if it's laid in concrete,
Yeah.
but if it's dry laid over, sand and stone dust, it's not like, it's not 100%, like, it would be like gravel, but it's still, there's a level of permeability there.
Semi-pervious.
Semi,
what I
yeah.
labeled.
Yeah, so the deck, when it's done, let's say if we did build it over the existing brick, would be partially over the brick, which is dry laid, as John said, and then I guess some part of it would be removed for the footings of the deck, and then the part of the deck is, as you mentioned, slightly larger than the brick patio. But that portion that is larger would, be over the ground or the ledge actually. So it would be, I think, equally as permeable as it currently is. So that'd be the net effect. But again, however you decide is ultimately fine with us. I just was hoping to ask the question.
What are your thoughts, Sean? You're being very quiet.
Safer that way. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they really consider that. Even semi-permeable. The way that, when you're figuring that.
I think patios are always a challenge because it's, do you have standing water on your patio? When it rains?
No, I mean, let me say it like this, like if it rains within an hour that, the water will have drained, immediately after it rains, there is water. So I guess that suggests it's, semi-permeable, did someone say? Or, we don't have standing water after an hour after a rainstorm. So however you'd sort of evaluate that, I guess.
What are your thoughts, Colleen?
I don't actually think it's an issue to put the deck over top of that because it is going to rain. It's not gonna be sitting there and it's not gonna create problems. So I would agree that I think what he's proposing should be fine.
And my thought is, since it's already there, we're not adding to it.
No, but we're adding to the structure.
But we're adding to the structure, but we're not
Yeah.
actually adding.
We're adding 700 square feet of coverage due to the enlargement of 34, I believe. Some of that may be part of the deck. The screen porch was only being increased by 174 square feet. Though I'm not right on that. The rest of that is the deck. The deck is a structure.
So that 89 square feet that they're reducing impervious.
Is by,
That would have been the hypothetical if they were to remove the whole patio and then build the deck on top.
and build the addition.
Yeah, on top of, okay.
So in my mind, if they're gonna,
The screen porch is being expanded approximately 174 square feet. So the patio is included in the original impervious surface calculation.
okay.
they're replacing the impervious brick from 356 to a permeable wood deck of 594.
So I think that's where I'm getting, if. Can I make a comment or no? I don't want to stop. Yeah, my opinion would be, similar to Colleen, I see no issue with the patio remaining under the deck being built over it. I say semi-pervious because it has the stone dust in between the joints of the actual rocks. It's not just a laid concrete with a little pitch and all the water is running off or just pooling. There is permeability in there. I don't see an issue with it. And it sounds like some may come up, be removed for the footings. But also if the board was really strong on having that removed, I think a patio is easier to take out than put in. But I'm not a mason, so I don't know, but I have no issue with the patio staying underneath.
I
Okay,
guess what's the height of the deck? Like, is there a space underneath?
yes.
Like how much?
Well, how high is the deck off the ground?
It's not very, it's about one step off, so, or a couple steps off. It's pretty low. The grade changes around it.
That
I think
change?
it's like a maximum of sort of 24 inches down to just a couple inches where it intersects with the slope.
Okay,
I was just thinking if it was a higher deck, you could store things. It's easier to store
Yeah.
things under there rather than having them sit in mud. You know, I was just thinking.
It's a good point. But that's how high it is.
okay. So you want to allow them to leave the patio?
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'm okay with it. And when people come by in front of us and they're putting pools in, we always ask that question, what type of, patio surrounds the pool? It's always an attribute when it's like a dry lay. It's the same thing with certain driveways that come in front of us. It helps with drainage.
Okay. Okay, I'll make the motion. I move to approve the application to Nicole Avanites of Wanasquam Home Design LLC on behalf of Catherine Taylor and George Legendor for a special permit under sections 1.7. Hold it just a minute, forget that motion. I move to close the public hearing and have the board enter into deliberations, which was already done. So are we closing the public hearing?
Second.
Second. Vote.
Yes.
Colleen, yes.
Yes.
John.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I move to approve the application to Colavanites of Wanasquam Home Design LLC on behalf of Catherine Taylor and George Legendor for a special permit under section 7.2 and 12.5 of the zoning bylaw and other relief as may be necessary to repair and expand by approximately 174 square feet a non-conforming screen porch which encroaches into the rear setback, replace an existing, install a permeable deck over an existing semi-pervious patio, approximately 600 feet, which encroaches into the rear setback, and construct 131 square foot second floor deck over an existing deck, which encroaches into the front setback, which decrease the total coverage by structures and impervious surfaces from 30% to 28.8%, where 25% is required on a non-conforming lot at 38 C Street, Assessors Map number 15, lot number 37 in District E, filed with the town clerk on November 17th, 2025. Based on a finding, the proposed project is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the bylaw, will not be substantially more detrimental or injurious to the neighborhood in which it is located than the existing non-conforming dwelling, and the requirements under section 12.5.2 of the zoning bylaw for the grant of a special permit have been met based on the following conditions. The decks and screen porch are cited as depicted on the plan of land prepared by Giroux Land Surveying dated 14/25. The decks and screen porch are constructed substantially in accordance with the following plans prepared by Wanasquam Home Design dated 11/17/25. EX 101, existing partial floor plans. EX 201, existing building elevations. A 101. Proposed partial floor plans, with the clarification that the semi-pervious patio under the proposed rain-through deck will not need to be replaced. And A 201, proposed building elevations. Do I have a second?
Second.
John seconds. Any discussion? Take a vote. Colleen,
Yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Sarah Butch, yes. Somebody want to write it?
I'll write it.
John will
I
write
was
it.
about to say I could write it, so I'll review it.
Okay, Georgia review. Yes. You're all set. We'll write that within 90 days and it will be filed with the town clerk, and there is a 20-day appeal period after it's filed with the town clerk.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for your time and attention to this and for the work you guys do for the town. Thanks a lot.
That's the next one.
Oh, thank you,
In
Sarah.
case you don't have it.
Thank you.
There's an envelope downstairs.
And I.
The next application is, 3 Eagle Head Road. Requesting a special permit to construct a single-story addition in the front setback and a rear deck on a non-conforming lot.
Where would you like me to sit? Something that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Can throw them out. I move to open the public hearing for the application of Brian Stein, Van Stein Architecture and Interiors on behalf of 3 Eagle LLC for special permits under section 7.2 and 12.5 of the zoning bylaw and or other relief as may be necessary to construct a single-story addition within the front setback on a non-conforming structure and to add an upper-level rear deck on the ocean side on a non-conforming lot at 3 Eagle Head Road, Assessor's Map number 153, lot number 37 in District E, filed with the town clerk on November 17th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Georgia seconds. Vote open the public hearing. John,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. You notice I added the deck in,
I did,
and that's because the lot's non-conforming.
right,
So
but
it's,
yeah,
so it's an extension to the structure on a non-conforming lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Brian Stein with Van Stein Architecture, representing 3 Eagle LLC. As Chair just mentioned, we're proposing about a 420 square foot addition on the front of the house in the front setback, part of it's in the front setback. We are not going any farther into the front setback than the current covered porch, entry porch on the front of the house. And then we are also proposing a rear deck that is elevated. It's a walkout basement, so we're elevating the deck off the main floor, which is fully conforming to setbacks. And so we've been to conservation for this, and with an actually a larger plan, we had a garage attached as well to the addition, but we've since removed that. That was approved for conservation. So we are just asking for relief on the front setback. The owners have owned this property for quite a while. The house is only 2,100 square feet, probably the smallest house on Eagle Head. And they have a large extended family. There's no half bath or powder room on the first floor. And they have, some of them work from home when they're here in the summer. So we basically have an office slash sitting room on the end of this addition that will have the view out over the beach and the deck. So that's pretty much what we're adding. So yeah, this is just a kind of a things to get away at times from the house. So there's really only one main living area in the house and 3 bedrooms. So natural living area will be very beneficial for them. So I'm happy to, so it's a 1-story addition, very long. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, so I'll just add that from the site visit, the topography of the land is such that on the street side is 1 level, on the ocean side is 2 levels. Like many houses in Manchester. Questions from the board?
I did have one quick note. There was a tiny mistake on the lot coverage for structures. It was higher than what it actually is. It should be 6.8% for requested conditions and just under 5% for existing. Actually better than what it confused.
You're saying structure, lot coverage by structures is, what is it now?
Is just under 5 right now, and it will be 6.8.
And the total structures of impervious surface. doesn't fit.
It'll actually be less too, but I
Okay.
didn't have those numbers.
Okay. It's under the requirement, so we're okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Any members of the public in the room wish to speak on this application? Are there any members of the public on Zoom who would like to speak on this application? If so, please raise your hand in Zoom. Don't see anybody. So I will make a motion. First, I will close the public hearing. I move to close the public hearing and have the board enter into deliberations with respect to the application.
Second.
Georgia seconds. Vote. Pauline.
Yes.
Georgia.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Okay. I move to approve the application of Brian Stein, Van Stein Architecture and Interiors on behalf of 3 Eagle LLC for special permits under sections 7.2 and 12.5 of the zoning bylaw and or other relief as may be necessary to construct an approximately 420 square foot single-story addition on a non-conforming structure in the front setback and add an approximately, how tall, how high is the, how big is the deck?
How many square feet is that?
Approximately.
Probably 400 square feet or so.
Approximately 400 square foot upper level rear and side deck to a structure on a non-conforming lot at 3 Eagle Head Road, Assessors Map number 13, lot number 37 in District E, filed with the town clerk on November 17, 2025. Based on a finding, the proposed project is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the bylaw, will not be substantially more detrimental or injurious to the neighborhood in which it is located, the existing non-conforming dwelling, and the requirements under section 12.5.2 of the zoning bylaw for the grant of a special permit have been met based on the following conditions. The addition and deck are located as depicted on the proposed plot plan prepared by Hancock Associates dated 11/11/2025. The addition and deck are constructed substantially in accordance with the following plans prepared by Van Stein Architecture Interiors dated 11/16/2025. A 101 floor plans existing and proposed. A 201, a 202, and a 203 elevations existing and proposed. Do I have a second?
Second.
John seconds. Is everyone in agreement that this will not be substantially more detrimental or injurious to the neighborhood?
Yes.
Yes.
Any more discussion? Take a vote. Colleen,
Yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. Who would like to vote this, write this one? Virtual writer, who would like to review it?
I'll volunteer.
Colleen will review it.
It's working.
It's an education, so you get to see one.
I know.
Okay,
Volunteer to.
you're all set.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is the continued public hearing on 22 Union Street, LLC, AKA Argo. Argo Unlimited. I move to open the continued public hearing for the application of 22 Union Street, LLC for a special permit under sections 4 and 12.5 of the zoning bylaw and other relief as may be necessary for a change of use in a non-conforming structure from retail to retail and residential, and a variance under sections 5.5 and 12.3.3, and other relief as may be necessary to construct a building with 3 stories instead of 2.5 stories, which does not exceed the height of 35 feet at 22 Union Street, Assessors Map number 51, lot number 62 in District G, filed with the town clerk on October 20th, 2025. Do I have a second to open the public hearing?
I'll second.
Colleen. Vote, John,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Georgia.
Yes.
Sarah votes yes. So we started this at our last meeting. We've received some additional documentation. Would you like to explain the additional information you've supplied us with?
Sure, I think, first we have Chris Vance here. We also have Jeff Dirk, who is our traffic engineer, available on Zoom. Before we get into all of the additional materials, though, I did want to clarify the record, just to make sure that the board had everything, and that we have everything. I think we're in sync. But I also did want to raise the issue of the procedural integrity that I mentioned with regard to Mr. Wells' email today, and our response to that, because that letter, as I mentioned in the email that I sent to the clerk earlier, it may not have gotten to everybody yet. But that email states that Mr. Weld is writing on behalf of several of the abutters, including Dan Weaver and Scott Pulver, as well as several other concerned citizens relative to the significant inadequacies of the submitted Vanass study. I'm duty bound to mention, I mean, a letter like this is not procedurally proper. You cannot, there's no evidence on the record that any of the folks that are named in that letter or any other citizens have authorized Mr. Weld to speak on their behalf. And so we just simply request that, until that happens, that the board consider that letter to be Mr. Weld's own personal opinion. That's. Can the board confirm that would be Chris, you?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
if someone's gonna speak, they should sign, but if they're also here in person, they can speak on their own. So if they didn't sign, that's,
Okay, I think that people are here, so
Yeah.
I think that's.
Okay, good. And then just to run through the record, we have our application that we submitted on October 20th. There's a revised first floor plan that we submitted on November 18th. A 3D rendering that was submitted on November 18th. Then there's a full updated plan set that was submitted on November 19th, which included the additional elevations showing the properties from the side and the rear, as well as a lighting plan and a landscaping plan. After that, there was a traffic impact evaluation by Vanas and Associates that we submitted on December 10th. Actually, that was dated December 10th, and we submitted on December 12th. And then on the 11th, we submitted updated first floor plans. One of the questions that came up at the last meeting was sort of what exactly is it that the board needed to know exactly what it was going to be approving. And so that's the reason why we submitted two alternative plans that show exactly what the floor plan layout would be under both alternatives. Under the alternative, where there'll be the small 500 square foot commercial unit, and then 3 units on the first floor. The first floor and the 3 townhouses would be at the lower level. And then the second plan, which shows 3 commercial units on the first floor. So the board can see exactly what the layout that you'd be approving under each scenario. Then there was Lorena Ivani's correspondence from November 4th and November 6th. Rosemary Costello's correspondence from November 19th. And then there was the fire chief's email from November 7th. That's all, at least our understanding, that's the record. The only other documents, Sarah, you had mentioned that you had received a letter in support, variance from John Harden. And then you have Mr. Wells' letter from today and my response to that. So that's, to us, that's the full record in the case. We just wanted to make sure there was nothing else. I know there have been different processes with the land use department in town. I just wanted to make sure everything had gotten onto the record, and that's what's there.
I'm not aware that anything else was received.
Great. Okay, so when we left off, there were really 3, aside from the issue about knowing exactly what the plans were, there were 3 additional tasks that we were asked to go and investigate and report back. The access from the units to Union Street, traffic impact, and then the question about whether there would be any trespass on the abutting property with cars maneuvering and pulling in and parking into the parking spaces. So first of all, follow-up request number 1 regarding the access from the units to Union Street. This is a great example of how every time we go to a hearing, we think we've got perfect plans, and we get comments back, and we make them better. Because I think it was Sarah that you raised the issue, and I think Sean may have raised the issue as well about potential safety of residents. If we had the first floor unit all commercial, then the residents would need to walk essentially down the driveway out to Union Street to have access to the front of the building. So we took that comment to heart, and that was the part of the revised alternates 1A and 1B that were submitted. Chris, do you want to? So this is the option and what the exact layout would be if the entire first floor was devoted to retail use. And as you can see, what the team has done, and Chris can probably explain it better than me, is provided direct access from the units through stairways down to Union Street. So there'd be absolutely no need for any residents to walk around the side of the building and down the driveway. We thought that was a fair comment, especially with regards to the concerns that have been raised by abutters about the driveway and access. And just overall thinking about how everybody's going to live on the site. If you want to live down in downtown Manchester and have an enjoyable experience, you're not going to have to walk out the back and around to get to the restaurants and the shops. We got to provide some way to do it. So Chris has come up with a design that allows for that to happen, so that eliminates any need for the residents to walk around to the side. And you can also see there's 2 vestibules that provide some area for folks to just get inside. It creates a little bit of extra space and access, given that the sidewalk is narrow. The middle unit has a direct access from the sidewalk directly into the retail space, which is nice to have. And I think that that's set back a little bit from the sidewalk. So I don't think there'll be much congestion there, but in this plan was designed to, address that concern that the board raised about access coming around, pedestrian access coming around the side of the building down the driveway, and we think this fully addresses that concern by taking that off the table.
Yeah, and the design approach too, we didn't want to add a bunch of additional doors on that front elevation. So we created the vestibule so that we didn't materially change that front elevation. So when you look at the procession of doors along Union Street, that did not change. We just created the vestibules at our access point for the retail space and the unit above.
And that, does the board have any questions on that particular aspect of the project?
I think my confusion is, are you proposing 1A or 1B?
Both.
Well, I see that as problematic because you're applying for a change of use.
Right.
So currently there's one retail space and you've been talking about adding 3 residences.
Correct.
Under 1B, you're still doing 1 retail and 3 residences. Under 1A, you're doing 3 retail and 3 residences.
Correct.
Which could impact the board's decision regarding the, whether it's more detrimental or injurious to the neighborhood. And I don't see how we can vote on an either or.
Our view is that both of them meet that standard. So even if it's essentially you've got between 500 square feet and 3,500 square feet of retail space. This is all going to be driven by demand. Presuming we get the project approved, the marketing efforts are going to begin. I think that there's obviously, a lot of revitalization going on along this end of town. There seems to be interest in retail spaces. And we want to have this space available. I mean, there was strong input from the town and the historic process from the residents. Everybody wanted to see retail. It was probably the most significant comment or criticism that we received. And so we came up with a plan to try to have that space be available. Under the residential option, the spaces will just be, potential home occupancy spaces. They're designed that way. There's no critical residential infrastructure on the lowest level. So those unit owners could have a home occupation that's essentially almost the same thing as a retail space. So we think that the uses and the impacts are similar. I think that's something the traffic engineer, when we get to that, can address. If the board, at the end of the presentation isn't satisfied that the standard is met for both scenarios, I think we can talk about changing it, but we think there's a real benefit to the town and having that space be available so that we can market it to businesses that want to go in there. You've got great new businesses that are coming in at 2 School Street and the intersection here. So it really, there's momentum and we want to keep that momentum going. And we think that's a positive. We think that only helps the town. And Ogden doesn't come anywhere near meeting that, failing that substantially more detrimental test. But we would ask that the board keep an open mind, at least through the presentation, and see what your thoughts are as we get through this. Because we are showing you exactly what the configuration would be under both scenarios. There's nothing left to chance. And it could be that, one tenant wants the whole space and we probably have to come back to you and, with a request for a change. But our goal was to give you 2 scenarios that you saw exactly what you'd be approving. So there'd be nothing left to chance other than what the market forces dictate happens, as we take this to the market, try to get tenants and see who's interested. But we certainly think keeping that space open and available for commercial use is what the town wants. And this is town center. Everybody seems to want businesses here. So we don't see any possible way that that can fail the substantially more detrimental test. When you look at it in light of neighboring properties. So that's what we asked on that comment.
I just don't see how you're not stating what your new use is. You're doing an either or.
Well, no, it's going to be a resident. It's a 3-unit residential building with accessory retail use ranging between 500 square feet and 3,500 square feet.
But on this other option, you'd only have. 400 square
Well,
feet
no,
of retail.
it's for, I say 500, but I believe that's for 490,
445.
440, between 445 and 3,500.
But isn't 3 retail different than 1 retail?
Or is it in my or my question is, as a novice, the use is residential or retail? Does the
It's the
decision,
number of units that matter.
okay, and the decision correlates to a plan that shows how many commercial units or
Yeah,
it's not based on, like residential, I get, we need to know the number of, but commercial
We've
it's not-
never approved an application
to just say
based on an either
commercial.
or,
Got it. Okay.
saying it could be this or it could be that.
But are any of these scenarios more detrimental to the neighborhood?
I don't know.
They're not.
I don't know.
Or maybe we start
Both
with one
scenarios are better
scenario.
than what's there right now.
But we don't know what's going to be built.
You do?
Yes, we do.
Because we'll vote on it. Well, I think they present one, or
They want us to approve both.
no, I'm almost wondering if it's, hey, if you guys don't like this, we don't want to have to wait for the next meeting and we're gonna show you another alternative we've already thought about to see if the residents also like that. That's my
That's not
thinking, but it may not be right.
not
That's,
what's being presented.
okay, got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, because in our view, this is all interior to the building. The exterior of the building is the same, either way. But why don't we go into the traffic report? Because those were the key questions that were brought up at the last meeting.
Mhm.
So we have submitted the Vanasse and Associates traffic impact evaluation, dated December 10th, and we believe that fully addresses the second and third concerns that were raised. The key findings in the traffic report are that when you compare the project to reoccupancy of the existing commercial building for retail use with 2 off-street parking spaces, that the proposed project is going to be significantly less impactful. According to our engineer, there's likely to be 144 few vehicle trips, a 75% reduction from what would occur in commercial use. And again, the commercial use is under either scenario is not going to be permitted to use the driveway. The driveway will be dedicated solely for the residential use, no matter what the building configuration is. The second is, and I know traffic reports sometimes can be debated, but as the report concludes, that even if that reduction weren't achieved, that any net increase in the traffic would not be perceivable on Union Street. Wouldn't result in any queuing, any kind of increase in motorist delays or vehicle lineups when compared to the previous use. And the project, the impact report further found that the proposed project is going to actually improve the driveway sightlines from the existing conditions because of the improvements that we've already discussed at the last meeting. What driveway is going to be widened by from 10 feet to 12 feet, and the front corner of the building is going to be cut back to improve those sightlines. And I should also mention the rear portion of the building is also being taken away, which will improve circulation and back. And the report also noted that we have 23 feet, which is adequate space for parking maneuvering, so that the cars trying to get into parking spaces when they come off the driveway aren't going to encroach onto the land of our butter, 18 Union Street. So safety is obviously a very significant concern. We've read the response to our traffic engineer's report from Mr. Weld. So we wanted to just talk. I'm going to let Jeff Dirk do most of the talking about the traffic report, but we really identified there's very clear reasons why we believe that the proposed project is going to be safer than the existing condition. The first, obviously, is the reduction in the intensity of use that we mentioned, the potential 75% reduction in the average daily trips. Even if it's not achieved, the difference would be imperceptible because, again, this is such a small project. The second point is that there's going to be a complete elimination of any need for pedestrians to use that driveway. That's the comment that you made and at the last meeting and why we revised the plans to include those vestibules and stairways. But it's very important to note that as of today, as of right now, in the existing condition, there is no access into the rear of the building from the parking spaces at the site. You drive around the building, and you park in those parking spaces, and you want to get inside the building, you need to walk around the driveway. So not only have we addressed that concern that was raised at the last meeting, but we are substantially improving that existing condition because that will be completely eliminated by this project. Whereas today, if we just occupied for retail use and we don't get the permits, that condition will continue where anybody that is parking for the retail use will have to walk around the building down to the front to come in to the entrances on Union Street.
Historically, did anybody ever park up there to go into the retail space? I don't believe so.
Did anybody ever go into that retail space?
Well,
No, not that you.
actually, the owner, I mean, I would watch Evelyn come walking down that driveway all the time. I mean, people park for that business and that's how they're gonna walk. And that condition is gonna be totally eliminated by this project. But then next, I mean, remember that the improvements that we're doing to the building, we're increasing the width of the driveway by 20%, from 10 feet to 12 feet, which is gonna help maneuverability and visibility. Potentially if two cars need to come in, there'll be a little space there. The minimum width, as we should point out, under the zoning bylaw for a common driveway is 16 feet. So the current condition is presently pre-existing non-conforming at 10 feet. And so going from 10 feet to 12 feet actually reduces that non-conformity. In addition, I think the other non-conformity we're reducing is the overall impervious, is that correct? Yeah. Yeah, so this project is going to reduce substantially two non-conforming conditions. The next is the separation of the commercial and the residential uses. Under either of the options that we have presented, either case, there's going to be no commercial use, parking, deliveries, access at all up that driveway. The driveway will be dedicated solely to the residential spaces. And what that does is it completely separates any interaction between retail or commercial traffic and residential traffic. The whole driveway and back parking area will be dedicated only to residential use. So we think that fully shields the residents of the property and the residents next door at 18 Union Street from ever having to interact with commercial traffic up and down that driveway. And we think that's a significant improvement from what exists today, because as of today, you've got 18 Union Street and the Pulver residents next door. Those residents have to deal with that driveway and they have a commercial activity that is associated with that driveway, and that will go away forever. And it will substantially, we think that will substantially enhance safety over the pre-existing non-conforming condition. Next is that there's been a lot of talk about the grade of the driveway, and as part of the project, the applicant has agreed to include a subsurface snowmelt system that the applicant will repair, maintain, replace from time to time. By contrast, right now with the pre-existing non-conforming use, the town has no ability at all to require that. So this is a very important upgrade that the proposed project is going to offer that's going to enhance safety from what exists today. We also think that the nature of the residential users are going to bring an enhanced safety aspect to the project. If that parking area is used for commercial activity, you potentially have customers that have never been here before. They don't know the area. They're not familiar with the driveway turning in. By contrast, residential users, they live there. It's their home. They know it. They're familiar with it. So that in and alone, we think enhances the safety of the area. And it's also reasonable to expect you've got potential seasonal residents that could potentially also reduce the use of the driveway. And, again, with residential use, oftentimes you have folks that are, pulling out, going to work for the day. The car's gone for most of the day. Whereas for retail, people are coming in and out generally. So we think that the nature of the residential use, really is going to enhance the safety of the area. And then last and very important is that in granting a zoning relief, the ZBA has the ability to impose conditions. For instance, the snowmelt system, you can require, and we would expect that you would require that will be maintained. And you don't have the ability to do that today. The existing use is pre-existing, non-conforming. The building inspector has no authority to, require signage or anything, any of the recommendations that were made in our traffic impact evaluation. If the applicant is willing to adhere to things like, commercial delivery hours, signage to indicate when vehicles exiting that somebody is driving up the driveway. So we think that by granting the requested relief, that the ZBA really has authority, an opportunity to regulate and put conditions on a site to make it substantially safer than it is today. We all know it's not perfect. But this is the job of the applicant here, and we can't make it perfect. We can only propose a project that doesn't make things worse. And here we think that the proposed project is going to make it a lot better and a lot safer than the pre-existing non-conforming condition. So with that, I think we'd like to see if Jeff, if the board has any questions, I think we have our traffic engineer is probably best suited to answer those questions. I believe he's available on Zoom.
Yeah, it's on the Zoom.
If the board has any questions, he's happy to address them.
I guess my question is, was this traffic evaluation submitted to the police chief, and has the police chief provided an opinion on the safety of this change of use?
We submitted it to the ZBA. I think we would have expected the ZBA might have forwarded it to the police chief, but we did not. Yeah, I mean, I would expect that the police chief would have received the initial application as part of our, I mean, we submit 9 copies, doesn't it go to all the town boards and departments?
No. So
But, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not that is not the applicant's responsibility. That's why we submit the 9 sets of plans, and then they go to the various boards and you get comments back and we react.
Well, I think that we raised concerns about safety, and you met with the fire chief. And so we would expect that the applicant would meet with the police chief and get an opinion
Which I did meet with the police chief,
with this report, after this report was received.
met with him when we originally submitted the application, and went through the project with him for the 3 residential units and the commercial. And he had no objection or comments that he had made at that time.
We'd also point out the fire department also indicated in that email from November 7th that they saw no issue with the project.
Right, and the fire department is with respect to emergency access, fire suppression, EMT services. The police chief is with respect to vehicular traffic, and it seems to me that the vehicular traffic and the coming in and out of that driveway is by residential vehicles is in the purview of the police chief.
Yeah, which I did discuss with him. Yes.
So if
And
they
it
were,
sounds like it's getting better
they were
from,
okay with the project before this report, what in this report would change their minds?
It gives the police
actually-
chief, no, it gives the police chief information on what the expected vehicular traffic is from the residences.
like average trips
Which
per day.
he would have that information.
The report also indicates that the traffic is going to be less.
Well,
So
I don't know if I agree with that.
why don't we, is Jeff here to?
You're now talking a potential of 3 retail, which would have more traffic than 1 original retail. Right? I mean, 3 different places to go.
No, because there's no
And
parking for
residents.
retail, Sarah. There's no
So it
parking.
doesn't matter if it,
But he's saying there's 149 or 179 more trips if it's all retail. So where's the discrepancy, John?
The way I understand it is if cargo, as it stands now, however many square feet it is, if that was a retail, this is how I understand it. If that was a thriving retail business, that's the number of cars or trips that would be generated by that business. We all know that that was not the case, right? But, and I think that's where you see that reduction in visits now, because now you're going to 3 townhouse
But now he's
units
talking
with
3
no
retail.
parking for retail.
but I think at the end of the day, either way, they said in either scenario, A or B, no one on retail can use this back parking lot.
I think the traffic study is talking about number of cars on Union Street,
Yeah.
which is unrelated to the usage of that driveway.
And in that fact, I would say,
Well, there's that
Did
component.
Jamie
There's also
do
the
one?
trips from the property.
What?
There's the traffic along Union Street, but there's also the visits from
going
people
in and
coming and
out
going
of,
Right.
from the property.
from the
So
retail,
these
the
are
people
two
that
different
live there.
things here.
But driveway is already being used.
Well, I thought that was the question we asked, was the traffic impact, having the residential cars
In
in
the
the parking
driveway.
lot. We didn't, it wasn't a question about now there's retail, because there's retail that's already there. It was really the impact of the owners having cars up in the, but the driveway is already being used for residential with no,
For one residence.
for the, well, the people with the easement have full use of that
It's a one
driveway.
residence zone.
But it's a 5-bedroom house that could potentially have 5+ cars up there. That-
So now you're adding,
But why should
3
the
more
owner of the
residences.
driveway have less use than the person, the easement? I don't think that makes sense. I mean,
I don't see that they are.
well, as long as we're not restricting how many, the 6 cars for the 3 units. But I thought that was the traffic, what we were asking for was the traffic.
Was the
based on
driveway.
For the driveway. in
Not
residential.
Union Street, like the happenings on Union Street. I feel like that didn't come up last meeting. Like if this.
But
changed
that's
to
what the
re-
traffic report is going.
But I
to.
feel like we asked for the traffic report because of the driveway and the,
I guess, what are we looking
People
for?
were
if we
nervous
don't
about the
already
driveway.
know Here, like, what are we looking for?
I'm looking for something from the police chief personally.
The
Okay.
police chief.
The police chief. is-
So, but then why didn't we talk about this last month?
I did. I raised the fact that we needed something from the police chief.
for the driveway. I felt like
For
last
the-
meeting, we talked about the dangerousness of the driveway and pedestrian,
And
but
the
like,
increased number of traffic from the driveway.
and they said now there's gonna be no commercial going, there's no parking for commercial. It could be an increase for retail. But I think that's the traffic study has said that's minimal,
48 trips.
but it almost sounded like there was more concerns about increased retail on Union Street, which I feel like we didn't talk about last meeting. That's only what I'm thinking. I thought we wanted traffic study for the driveway.
I think that what we're looking at is a change of use.
Mhm.
Correct?
Mixed use, change from a commercial. property
Change of
to mixed
use.
Yeah.
Today, the use is one retail space.
Mhm.
A large retail space.
Yep.
Last meeting, it was one retail space, adding 3 residential. Now it is the possibility of 3 retail plus 3 residential.
Or 1 retail and 3 residential.
So the note that at the last, that's not entirely, because at the last meeting, we presented a plan with notes that showed that it could be either or. So it's not correct to say that this is a new thing that we're proposing retail for the first floor tonight. The last plan showed notes saying, yes, these are configured as.
You talked about home.
We
home
ran through the scenarios though.
No, but we had notes that said it could be used for retail use, and if that happened, then the stairways would be eliminated, which led to the comment of,
But
well,
it
wait a
was 1
second.
retail space you showed us, not 3.
But we ran through the
It was
scenarios.
not. It was
How to
one
break
retail
it.
space on the side. And then, do you have the plan that had the notes on it?
But they're also saying that could be 1 commercial unit.
It
Where
could.
you could
3, you could
potentially.
break it up.
It could, there
depending
could
on
be-
Market theirs, so.
This picture is showing 3 retail.
And then 1A is showing, or 1B is showing 1 retail.
No. Yeah, 1 little retail.
What we had shown at the last meeting could have actually resulted in 4 retail, because you had the commercial on the side here. And then you had the 3 units. And we had notes indicating that if there was success to have those be retail spaces, that we would eliminate the stairs. And that's when the board said, well, wait a second, how are people gonna get to Union Street? So this, in our mind, the new plan that we're showing today, instead of having 4 retail, because it's a lot, it doesn't line up very well, we reduced it to 3, which we thought created more appropriate and sized spaces, allow the units to be,
I beg to differ. What you gave us was 3 units and 1 commercial on the first floor of 3,183 square feet. You did not talk about 3 commercial on the first floor when you gave us this level floor 1 plan dated November 19th, 2025. There were 2 scenarios. 3 residential units plus 1 commercial unit, where you had the commercial at 493 and the 3 residential on all 3 floors. And then the second scenario was that you didn't have residential on the first floor and that you had a commercial space of 3,183. And then you had the sizes for the residential on the second and the third floor.
Right.
So you showed us one commercial.
Well,
not three.
This is the plan.
I'm looking at the chart you gave us.
Which-
As part of
But
that
we
plan.
talked about the concept of putting walls in to separate the units, to have that flexibility where you could have one master tenant, one large tenant, or you could break it up into 4 separate tenants. And these adjustments are a direct response to what we were looking for during the last meeting. So I don't know what am I missing here?
What was presented to us is what you're missing, John.
I remember the meeting, I was there,
Do you have the paperwork?
not in front of me, but I was there. We talked about all these things.
It was one commercial space and he was removing the staircases with the one commercial space.
Do we
And
not
I
talk about
raised
the idea of firewall? We
concerns.
asked the question, are they
No.
fire rated walls?
That was only if the residential went down to the first floor.
I disagree. I remember her
And-
asking the questions. That was my first question to the applicant. My very first question.
And I think the response to that is they came in with options, because I felt like we had talked about other scenarios, and I feel like the applicant came in with 2 options based on our feedback and the resident feedback. That's.
And I think
that's my-
we would be happy if the board wanted to modify the plan. Just, I suppose if the board had a question regarding the number of units, we could eliminate this wall, it would be 1 unit. And they would have the same staircases. We might have to come to you in the future to make a change if we couldn't get demand for a tenant that wanted to take all that space. But that's where John is correct, that this was a direct response to the comments from the board, looking for clarity on what exactly it would look like if there was going to be all retail on the first floor. And we thought the best way to do it was with these stairways and creating the 3 units. Because
Oh, I
that
like the
seems-
stairways.
because that-
I like the
Agree on that, yeah.
and I mean, and again, we're taking a step back, because remember, the test here is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. This is a neighborhood where we want stores. So it seems to us, having 3 stores, if we could get 3 different retailers to go in there, that would be a huge win for the town.
But I think the challenge is the use today is 1 retail. If you split the 1 retail into 3 smaller retail, that might be a manageable change of use where you're going from 1 retail to multiple retail. But you're also adding in 3 residential.
Absolutely.
So
We need
it's-
that too.
It's a substantial increase in the usage of the lot from what is today with 1 retail.
I think the residential is necessary. It's necessary. Let's have more eyes on the street downtown, because we know residential will thrive. Retail, I don't know, not so much.
I agree.
I worry, I really worry. I drive by the restaurants, they're always empty. I drive by even these new retailers, the roast beef place has been empty for over a year now, it seems. I really worry. I don't know anybody who's ever been at Jay McLaughlin, or sorry to point out certain, but like, seriously, like who?
No, higher end, it's not attracting tourists that come from college kids or.
So I think that we need to allow for some flexibility here. The capital markets will change. Retail is very hard to underwrite if you're going for a loan. You know, it's just, you need that flexibility. And so who knows what again, I said this last time, where things will be 2 years from now. Retail might be thriving. I hope it is around here. And I'd love to see storefronts there, but I worry about that. So I think we need to have some flexibility in this.
So we need to work within the confines of the bylaw. We can't write. new
We are,
bylaw.
because we're voting.
We would like to.
We're voting to approve commercial and residential usage.
Mhm.
So there's still gonna be a commercial component to this.
Can I think, again, the test, remember, and I want to go back to the test and what we're here for, is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. There can be a substantial change without being detrimental. And that's exactly what we think we have here. And I want to point out we had a list of properties to compare it to, because remember, the neighborhood. 48 Union Street, several doors down, 9 units, 9 condominiums, and no parking. 40 Union Street, that's mixed use commercial and residential. I'm not sure how many units are in there. That's on a 0.1 acre lot. 38 Union Street, few doors down, 1 commercial unit and upstairs apartment, no off-street parking. 33 Union Street, the former Zach's building, I think that has 6 dwelling units on a lot that has just 0.16 acres. 1 to 3 School Street, right at the corner, that's got 10 units, 10 dwelling units and a retail space. Then you've got the mixed units with 3 to 6 residential units and street level commercial at 2 School, 7 Central and 11 Central. Those are all tiny lots, and look at how many units are on there. So again, is it a substantial change to go from a single story to 3 stories? Of course it is. The question that is before you is whether it's more detrimental to the neighborhood. And when you consider that, you have to look at what is your neighborhood. And these buildings that I've just described, they're all more intense use than what we're proposing. We think that what we're proposing is exactly what the neighborhood needs, and it's beneficial to the neighborhood. We don't even think you get to more detrimental because we think it helps. You know, we understand the concerns. We want to address them, parking, traffic, things like that. Obviously, and we need to work with the board, and we have a substantial set of conditions that we would be willing to agree to. So we think when you put it all together, it just doesn't seem to fail the test. And that's the real key here is it more detrimental to the neighborhood? I think it's helping the neighborhood. But I think we're diverting from, do we need to hear from there's still traffic concerns? Because I think if you want to ask questions of the engineer, we can do that. But to us, this is.
I mean, I think in my opinion, I mean, as far as the traffic goes, I don't think there's really a whole lot you can do to improve with the conditions that are there. Other than, like in the study, it says is to propose LED lighting signs on approach of vehicles and things like that. That's commonplace in Boston. They have to do that kind of stuff when you have sidewalks and everything. I mean, my opinion, is it detrimental? No. I think in some ways it is what's needed. Yet, yeah, I do have concerns whether or not the retail will be filled because of the way retail's going around here. Yeah, I mean, traffic wise, I mean, I don't see with what's there, and it's been that way forever, and there's no way of changing it.
Can I just add, as a board member, I'd be very concerned if there was they came in front of us and they're like, here's our proposal, we'll have 4 retail units, and we're going with this, right? And they get it built, and then they sit vacant for 2 years because they can't find a tenant. At least they have that flexibility where you can adjust based on market conditions, based on, who you find as tenants.
But
I love that flexibility.
It's not how we do approvals under the bylaws. That's the challenge, John.
However,
Give them, well, if you want to do this today and you decide to do this tomorrow.
No, but they did
There's zoning
commercial.
I'm looking at the height of the building, the way it affects the streetscape.
Oh, I'm not questioning the streetscape.
That's what I look at. I'm not concerned about, how much square footage of retail is gonna be in there 3 years from now when it's built. We have to allow some flexibility.
We never have allowed flexibility in a ZBA.
We've never had a project like this before. Have we ever had any retail project in front of us? I've been on this for 8 years.
We did not allow any flexibility.
What's that?
7 Central, we did not allow any flexibility. They added 3 residential units. We did not have flexibility. This is the plans they presented to us. This is what we approved. We approved, and they had to build according to our approval. They couldn't go and change it unless they came back before us. And that's what I'm saying about this. You need to put a stake in the ground and decide what you want us to approve. If you want to change it down the line, come back before us. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so does it make sense just to pick one route?
That's what I'm asking for.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking.
Because this, again, these alternate options were a directive from us. We said, show us what it looks like with retail, show us what it looks like without.
I'm not questioning that, John. I'm questioning what we're approving, that it needs to be something specific. And they're going to make the decision, I would assume, before they start building.
That may not.
No, that's the whole
No,
point.
yeah.
The way it's designed is to allow for that flexibility.
Well, that likely be the because the way that these residential units are designed, there's no critical infrastructure on the first floor. So that can literally be left to the very end, and you'll often see that when a mixed-use building is constructed, you'll leave the first floor with like you won't even run the plumbing because you don't know exactly what your tenants are gonna want. And so the layouts very often, if you go into some other larger towns, projects like this that have different layouts are approved and potential different uses and variable sizes for the uses. They are approved because we're setting parameters. You know what you're going to approve. Under the residential scenario, we are locked into this floor plan. And under the commercial scenario, we are locked into that floor plan. So you know what you are approving in either case. There's nothing left to chance.
So you're not well, there is though, because you've got, in one scenario, you've got residential on the first floor.
Correct.
And the other you do not.
But we're
And
not
that's
voting
a
on-
difference.
But we'll only vote on one.
No, they're asking us to.
We're asking to vote on both.
That's the problem.
We're voting on a
No
shell.
problem.
You absolutely have legal authority to do this. This is.
Well, I'm gonna say, my comment is the residential, I feel like the use is the use, and I think I'm going with what John is saying, if things need to move around a tiny bit, but I feel like I'm voting on.
Tiny bit.
No. Between residential and commercial, absolutely not a tiny bit. But if for some reason commercial needed to change to just be 2 units instead of 1, because there's a retailer that comes in and has a bigger space, but in my mind, I'm voting on the use of commercial and residential. Whereas just once commercial. So I don't care, the commercial, I'm voting yes on the use of commercial, but not on the space and the physical makeup of that commercial.
But if you're in a residential area, let's say T2,
Yeah,
where you can do a 2-family or a 1-family. Okay? If you come to us for a 2-family, you do a 2-family. You can't just automatically change it to a 1-family.
But it's the.
And what they're doing is saying, okay, I'm gonna have residential on the first floor here, but now I'm gonna change it to commercial. That's a different use of the first floor.
Even the
I
residential.
would absolutely agree.
And that's why I don't want to approve both. I want one or the other.
But can I ask a question?
I would agree.
Yeah.
Is the question before us to change the zoning, because right now it's a commercial building? We want to change it to a mixed use, so it's commercial and.
We're not changing it to a mixed use.
Mhm.
We're approving residential plus commercial
Right.
in that structure,
Right.
which is what the parameters of the bylaw is. Our bylaw does not have a specific mixed use. Okay, so we're taking, it allows retail, commercial, it allows residential.
Mhm.
And it doesn't say it has to be in separate structures. So you're saying, okay, it's an existing retail, commercial, and we want to add residential to it. And therefore I'm saying we need to be more specific because of the bylaw.
Now, refresh my memory, does the bylaw require us to approve it per the plans?
We always make our decisions subject to the plans. We've never done anything else.
I think if those plans were to change, it should have been a plan that was shown to the public. To that, to that effect, like if we were to approve this tonight, that has to be the plan in the decision.
Yeah. And then if they want to change it, they come back before us.
Right.
Because we actually put the stuff in the decision.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point. I get
That's
your
my
point
trouble.
because we're approving multiple plans for the same thing.
What we're requesting is that there be 2 alternates for the first floor. And you absolutely have the legal authority should you make the required findings to approve both of those alternates? I mean, I think we could, if we wanted to, we could file one special permit application for the retail plan and file a whole separate special permit application for the other one. We could file it tomorrow if you locked us into one, but that wouldn't be efficient or make any sense.
I disagree with that because we're issuing a special permit on the property.
But you could have multiple special permits on the property. We could apply for a special permit. Go out, try to seek financing, seek tenants. And if knowing that it might not work out, next week, we could file an application for the other alternative and you go through the exact same analysis. We're just asking the board.
And the first one would no longer apply.
Are you sure the first one would no longer apply? I mean, if you found that, but we would have authority if
You
you
can make
wanted
it no
to.
longer apply
But why would you want to?
because that's what we've always done.
And that might be why the town is struggling.
I do this for a living and we do this all the time where we have an apartment building and we have an estimated, square footage number for commercial. And if we get it, great. If we don't, you have to adjust. We've built things where we take away units and put daycares in them, and you just adjust. And it's never this back and forth with the zoning board on the local level.
But,
I mean, it's pretty common.
but our bylaws may be more specific than what you've got with John. That's the problem.
Okay.
And the problem is this is a non-conforming structure. If it wasn't a non-conforming structure, we would not have to do the change of use. It's because you're taking a non-conforming structure where you're grandfathering in an existing use, and now you're asking to change that use. If it were conforming,
But could you point me to where in the bylaw you believe you don't have authority to approve alternate plan sets? Because I don't think that exists. This is the same section 6 analysis that you see in bylaws throughout Massachusetts. And just like John points out, you have applicants in mixed use buildings where you have alternate plan sets. And we think either one of them easily meets the test. And I don't think there's anything in the bylaw that prevents you from doing it. You're simply making a finding that either of these alternative floor plans for the first floor, one floor of the building, is not going to violate the standard.
let's move to public comment. Is that okay?
Sure.
Is there anybody in the room, any member of the public in the room who would like to make a public comment? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address.
Mike Carvalho, 2 Jersey Lane. I want to thank the applicant for their diligence and patience, putting together a great presentation. I had a chance to look at some of these and I was just really impressed that they took to heart, as Mr. Zager said, took to heart some of the comments that were made and actually got a better outcome with the inclusion of those stairs coming down. I think in a larger sense, though, our community needs this kind of investment. It reflects a vision of the future. And for those of you that were able to walk around town last week, well, that was just amazing, right? There was a real sense of community here. This has been a blight as long as I've lived here, come up for 12 years. There are pieces of the cornice literally falling off this building. We know this, okay? And you have somebody that's willing to put an enormous investment of money, capital into it. And I think the way that it connects in a commercial or retail sense with what's going on further on down, this has got a vibrant vibe written all over it. And I also know, because I work in this development business too, as an attorney, I see the need to be able to be flexible, particularly with the economy that we've got right now. Things are not good. Things have been hidden for a long time, for the last year. And I am deeply concerned about things like where my clients get their timber, where their mechanicals, what the tariffs are going to be. These are publicly held companies that are struggling with this. So giving a smaller company that's willing to put the investment in here and giving them a little bit of leeway, I have to say, I am not aware of any portion of the bylaw that prohibits the board here from approving both alternatives. The key is whether or not there's a substantially more detrimental condition that's being created. And either one of these, it is clear, it's got to be clear to everybody in this room, would be an improvement over that crumbling building. You know, and once you start doing that infill, then you're going to find Jamie's gets picked up. You're going to find the restaurants getting more business coming into them. It's an exciting thing to go through, but I don't think it's fair to the applicant and candidly the town to hold them up and force them to have a crystal ball. This is the kind of thing that, I don't know if it kills a project, but it makes Manchester less interesting to invest in. And I think you would consider that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, state your name and address.
Brian Solis, 11 Central Street. I agree with Mr. Carvello. Anyone who's willing to invest in the community at this point, we have to make this a user-friendly community. And right now, for whatever reason, my grandson likes the Liberty Tree Mall. And right now, what I'm looking at is the Liberty Tree Mall over there. And I don't see anyone running in there to fill up the retail space. So we have to give some flexibility to someone who's willing to spend some money, put up a beautiful looking building, okay? And they're taking the gamble as to what's going to be downstairs, all right? And whether it's 3 retail spaces or 1 retail space, I think that, you know, from a purely small town, we'd like to see 3 retail spaces. Plus, it makes it more affordable, I think, for any retailer moving in here. I think that we should be working towards encouraging this kind of investment in our community rather than trying to find roadblocks as to why it doesn't work. And I can't speak to the bylaw that you're referring to, but if Mr. Zager and Mr. Carvello were both attorneys, I just watched them on TV. If they don't think that this is it's outside the purview of this board, then I think that you know, I think that we should be encouraging this kind of thing, because it's going to be others. We want to open up the floodgates to reinvesting in the community. We've got one individual that's doing it now, okay, and he's doing a great job, but we can't let him shoulder the entire burden of beautifying our community, downtown community. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room? Yes, sir.
Mark Wells, 15 School Street.
Okay.
I don't disagree with Mr. Carvalho of, you know, multiple uses, retail, anybody that wants to make a proper investment. I don't know the legality of, you know, making a subsequent proposal from the original proposal that was made when everything was advertised and all. So I'll stay away from that. I don't have a problem with the building that's being proposed. I have a big problem with safety. And the last time we got together, we talked about vehicular traffic and we talked about pedestrian traffic. And I don't see anything in this report about pedestrian traffic. And if people want to say, put whatever you want there, as long as it's safe, it's fine with me. And right now, even where you've seen in my letter that where we perhaps have disagreements with the report, there is no disagreement factually that when you get to the bottom of that driveway and you currently look on either side, you are basically a blind driveway, and factually you are at 20% of what is required to be safe. And that's just with an automobile, let alone the child coming down with a bicycle, walking down, whatever. So I think there are pretty easy resolutions to this, to the safety part. Everybody else can argue about whether they want the use or anything. We're okay. And I have 2 of my people that I've represented that I'm representing that are here, and they can affirm that. And but I think there's an easy solution to this, and that I discussed with Chris Vance last night for over an hour. That is that you move this building as you look down the driveway, pick a number, 10 feet in. So now you have a 20-foot wide passage there. It doesn't all have to be paved driveway. 10 feet of it can be, but if you move that driveway south, that 10-foot driveway, you will then have areas on both sides of that driveway going down that you could walk down, which people are going to walk down anyway. And they're going to walk down much more than they walk down now, okay? But now you would have an area that they could walk down. They might even be able to bike down. And when they got at the bottom there, you wouldn't be blind, nor would the people walking from north to south on Union Street that are totally blind to that driveway until they get into it. So apart from the either lack of scope that we all talked about, which included pedestrians and bicycles and kids and all that kind of thing, I think that the idea that this plan in either of its iterations is generating substantially less traffic than a reoccupancy is absolutely false. And I think even if I'm absolutely wrong about that, if you picked option 1A, you're creating as much retail essentially, plus 3 units. So do you add 79% and then 500% on top of it? And I don't know what the exact number is, but it's much more. And all we, my authorized friends, and maybe my unauthorized friends are asking for is just make it safe. We're fine with it otherwise. Many of us have been here even longer than 12 years, Michael. And have gone to Beaton's Hardware. There has never been a retail market there that is going to generate in a reoccupancy, 79% more traffic. It's just not happening. So apart from the argument that I disagree with the fundamental assumption that, what we're doing is going to, provide a much safer, less traffic option, forget that. Just make it a reasonable, safe exit. And for my group that I can speak for, that's all we're going to do, because it's up to you. It's up to the police chief. It's up to them to make it safe. We've raised the issue, and that's about all we can do. Thank you.
Anybody else in the room?
Dan Weaver, 12 Allen Avenue, kind of also on 36 Union Street, just echoing, everyone agrees it's an improved design of what's there now, but is it safe? And the driveway is not safe today. They talked about adding 2 feet, but 16 feet, I think Adam said, is what's required under the zoning law. Well, a wider driveway allows access, and that makes the project safe. And that, I think, is what's needed. You push your kids in a stroller down the sidewalk down Union Street, you can't see that driveway. And so extra car trips for 3 more units. Safety is all we care about on building a safe building.
How far back is the corner of that building next to the driveway you're proposing? Right now, it's at the sidewalk, correct?
Correct, yes. See what's on the back then. So here's the proposed site plan. So our building footprint is in the light gray hatch here. You can see that diagonal hatch is the existing front facade of cargo. So we're actually pulling and angling this back 6 feet. So when you approach the sidewalk here, we're increasing the visibility from where it currently is. So that whole part of the building is getting pulled back 6 feet.
question in that regard, if I might. So the study does not indicate what the visibility is relative to the safety either desired or required. What the end result will be, because the result looking the other way is the same. It's 20% of what's typically required. What is the number there? I don't know. But I would have thought that would be a key part of your argument.
We acknowledge, we don't have a perfect site. We know that. But again, this is a section 6 case. And the question is not whether we meet an ITE standard that would be applied if you were building on a site that was undeveloped. We have a site that's fully developed that we have to work with. And the test is what we're doing, making it substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. And the changes that are being proposed, including the cutback, widening the driveway from 10 to 12, there's no question that you make it better. All of the conditions that the board can impose, prohibiting any use pedestrians from walking down that driveway, that can be an enforceable condition. It's part of our special permit. It could be part of the condo documents. It could be part of building rules and regulations. So we think it's not perfect. We know this, but we're trying to make it better. And we think undoubtedly these changes, how can you argue that with a wider driveway, with the building cut back?
Because you're increasing the driveway width, Adam, by 20%.
Back and
The
forth.
vehicles by 500.
Sorry, no back and forth.
Please. Well, you can only fix. Yes.
Again, happy to run through a set of proposed conditions to give the board a.
Hold on, I need to take public comment from Zoom. Okay, sorry. Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to make a comment on this application? If so, please raise your hand in Zoom. I see that Allison Harden has her hand raised. Go ahead, please.
Hi, this is actually John Harden at 54 School Street. I had a couple of questions. One, regarding the parking. The parking in our zoning is a square foot situation, right? So in terms of number of parking spaces versus number of retail spaces, it really isn't about the number of retail spaces. It's more about the square footage of that retail. But also because this current retail has no parking really, except for the spaces at the back, which I doubt were ever used for retail. I don't see that it's any worse of a situation, since the proposed retail would be no greater, I would assume, in square footage than what is there now. And then about the 1A versus 1B, I know that the town would always prefer retail on the first floor and is trying to encourage retail on the first floor. But I wonder, and this is a question really more of a lawyer question probably, but if the board was to approve either one, would the project then in the future, if a change were needed to happen, is the project still a non-conforming situation where they'd have to come back, or could a change of use happen if the project is conforming? Thank you.
The structure they're proposing is in the setback, therefore it's a non-conforming structure, therefore it requires ZBA approval for a change of use.
But in the future, it would still be?
I'm talking about current bylaws.
No, correct. I mean, with the future building being built, right? Once it's built.
They're building in the side setback next to 36 Union.
Got it. Okay.
The new building is.
Okay.
And the front setback.
Right.
So the answer is yes, we would need to come back.
Okay.
We entirely do.
Susan Philbrook.
Okay, hopefully my voice will hold up. I'm not wanting to comment about the substance. I wanted to comment about the procedure that Adam is suggesting. I'm a little bit nervous about the two option scenario and how that could play out in the future. I don't want to set a precedent for applicants to come in and say, I'm putting these 5 things in front of you. They all work. You know, you can accept all 5. We're going to try this first. I'm just nervous about that. And the precedent it will set with future ZBA applications. And then also with the planning board, I would hate to see that start happening with the planning board. And I also worry about the rights of the abutters and folks who might not agree with the ultimate decision. Would they be appealing both plans or one plan? Again, I'm worried about the procedural aspect.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on Zoom? Don't see anybody. Okay, would you like to go through your
Sure.
suggested conditions?
Yeah, we have, so first condition, we no commercial customers, employees, or deliveries of the proposed project shall use the driveway. So again, restricting to residential only, taking the commercial use out of the equation entirely. Condition number 2, obviously, since those commercial vehicles are not going to be using the driveway, they're going to have to do deliveries from Union Street. This is not unusual, and it's the current situation, frankly, because the delivery trucks don't bother to drive up. Sometimes they don't want to see the slope, they don't want to go there. So we think it's appropriate and fair that there would be restriction on commercial deliveries on Union Street and during the busy summertime. Obviously, what I guess we would suggest is between 10 and 3 on Saturdays and Sundays, between Memorial Day and Labor Day, to not allow commercial deliveries on Union Street, because that could potentially disrupt the beach traffic that we see. Condition number 3 is that the applicant will maintain and keep in good working order a subsurface snow melt system for the common driveway, also recommended in the Vanasse report. Number 4, the applicant will impose rules and regulations, either in a tenant handbook or in condo documents, prohibiting any occupants of the property from using that driveway for any purpose other than access. There's no passive recreation, no games, nothing. It's only for access purposes only. Number 5 is that the applicant would install the safety signage that was recommended in the Vanasse report, including that LED sign, which, by the way, will face away from Pulver residents, so it wouldn't be an intrusion into him. That would alert vehicles that are coming out of the parking spaces and about to come down the driveway if a vehicle was driving up. Again, not something that exists today, so a very substantial safety feature that would make the proposed project safer than what currently exists. 6, any landscaping that would be installed as part of the project within the intersection site triangle areas would have to be designed and maintained so as not to restrict the sight lines. Again, that comes from the Vanasse report. Any snow accumulations within the sightline areas would have to be promptly removed to avoid any visibility effects. Actually, I think I confused number 5 would be sorry. 8 would be a signage indicating that there's no commercial vehicles that are allowed to access that driveway. No vehicles serving the commercial part of the project. Obviously, if the Pulvers need to bring a landscaper out or anything like that, or if the residents had a contractor coming up, they could come up. But it's the commercial use. Any of those potential stores that are going to be there. Anybody coming to visit those stores, make a delivery to those stores, working in those stores would not be able to use the driveway. And 9, our proposed parking area is going to be screened from view of the Pulver residents. That was something that was important to Mr. Pulver, and we've agreed to. And then number 10 is that the applicant would install a remote fire department connection or hydrant at the rear of the proposed building. That was requested by Chief McNeely. The applicant's fine doing that. We believe that addresses all the fire department concerns. So that's our set of special conditions, if the board has standard conditions that they're looking to impose, or any additional conditions that you think are unique to the site, you know, we're happy to consider them. You know, safety is important to us. None of us want to be associated with a project where anything bad happens. So we're all ears if the board has other ideas. But again, we think that the project as we've designed it, it is, and restricting the driveway to the residential use only versus commercial is going to make things much safer, especially if these conditions are imposed. So we ask the board to consider them.
Didn't the fire chief have a sprinkler system required too? So wouldn't it be appropriate to have that condition be, all conditions required by the fire chief?
That's by building code, it would be required to have suppressions, but he specifically asked for a dry hydrant so that they could connect their truck to it. If they needed to get apparatus behind the building. So that's in addition to the fire suppression system.
I would suggest we might want to add a condition that since the existing retail unit does not provide off-street parking for clients, that no off-street parking would be required for the retail units.
That's something I think we're going to have to deal with the planning board on.
It's under, I believe it's under the special granting authority.
So you want to, but well, we're going to have to go to the planning board anyway for the residential units. And we had intended to ask them for the parking waiver, which they have authority to grant under bylaw, I think it's section 6.1.8.
Yep. And what are you going before them for the residential units? Because it's more than two.
Right, correct. We need, because it's more than 2 units, we need planning board approval for 3 units. And they actually, because it's a change of use to more than 2 units, we also have to get site plan approval from the planning board.
Right.
So in addition to anything that you wanted to impose, we're going to be before them, and they would layer on. So if you leave anything left for them.
A dumpster, where's the dumpster gonna be?
Let's not talk about it.
And then the dumpster and the snow storage and all that stuff.
You talked about an LED sign
Correct.
at the bottom. Is
Yeah,
that
it's at the top. So
at the top for the entering
For
vehicles?
the exiting vehicles.
Exiting
Yeah, so
vehicles.
as you're pulling out around the side of the building,
Mhm.
if a car were coming up, there would be an LED that would alert you, be facing away from the Pulver residence, pointing towards the parking spaces. So if you're about to pull out and somebody's coming up the driveway, you'll notice, stop and wait, let them pull out.
I believe that the traffic thing also had a recommendation that there be a stop sign and a watch for pedestrians at the base of the driveway.
Yeah. I think we can do that. I think we have to figure out exactly where it's gonna go, but do that.
If you put the stop line, you can't see the pedestrian.
I'm like,
Is it possible to put a LED, so like the sign for pedestrians warning when a car is coming down?
I don't know that that's something that's.
The most thing like a parking garage in Boston, like you have leashes a parking
But it-
garage and it's like beep beep.
Obnoxious.
And I was gonna say, there should be no sound. That was gonna be my comment. If it's gonna flash, that's one thing, but
I think with the cutback of the building, I mean, I don't think we saw that as being something that was crucial. I mean, I don't think there've been any incidents reported that were.
I'm just throwing things out to try to address some of the concerns.
I understand.
You have at some of the crosswalks. You have a button that pedestrians push and it just blinks.
that rapid flashing beacon is what it's called.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
There's no noise.
Yeah.
It's like at Pine and Pleasant.
You see them on rail trails, like 97 and Wenham, like crossing, it just.
I just think you need to take a little bit of a step. I mean, we're talking about a 3-unit building. We are not talking about a large, this is a very small development. We understand it's in a prominent location and it's significant for Manchester by the Sea, but this is a minuscule development by most traffic analysis standards.
And I guess it's no worse than people backing out of their driveways across the sidewalk.
Or the unit
onto
he
the
listed
street.
that had the other unit, a lot of units and
The worst
acreage or
They don't have
parking.
cars coming out.
Has,
There's no cars.
has Boo Bird.
Oh, yeah,
And Bust-
Peel
Captain Dusty's house.
Yeah.
That's the worst spot.
The Peel House Square.
I think you can go 100 yards away to Callis. That building, I have, my heart, pumps every time I'm walking my dog or my kid. We're going down. I mean, there you don't see anything until you cross into the driveway. I mean, these are just downtown.
I see that as different.
It's flat.
Yeah, it's different.
It's,
But I guess
it's
there's
actually,
no rubric.
if you're coming downhill, you have a better visual of left and right. You do.
Because there is no rubric to what's
You should go down the hill, brother.
your traffic.
Yeah.
My driveway's a hill. I don't need your comment. Thank you.
Excuse me?
Okay,
Alright.
okay, no back and forth, please, come on. And is there a reason why you're doing parking for 6 cars in the back rather than the 5?
I think we wanted each unit to have 2 spaces. It's a quality of life thing. I mean, these are not going to be small units, and they're not going to be inexpensive units. And we think that we want to encourage units that people are going to enjoy living in. You typically, most family units have 2 cars, and it seems to be a better, just a better development with everybody having 2 parking spaces. Everybody's hyper focused on off-street parking. We figured let's go over and exceed the requirement. So again, when you talk about substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, you've got a project that now exceeds what the bylaw would actually require, which we see very often.
I'm still very concerned about approving something with options.
I understand.
And I think Sue Filbert voiced it well, that where do you stop?
I think that you do what we did is we say, you said, look, what you gave us last time had these notes on it. We don't know what it's going to be. And I think we came back from that here and we started thinking, okay, well, how many different options could there be? Because you might not build those units. You might have 1 additional retail tenant, in which case you've got 2 of those units would be the triplexes. So what we said is, okay, let's keep it really simple. Let's give them 2 options. 1 option that has the first floor, all retail, and 1 option that only has the minimum 445 square foot retail. And if tenant demand end user demand is different, then we're gonna have to come to you with another plan and say, hey, do we need to come back for a hearing for this change? And you'll tell us. And if we do, we will. But we've purposely tried to limit the options to very specific floor plans so that we're leaving nothing to chance. And we think that you have authority to do that. And we don't think it opens up a can of worms because you've got to, I understand the point. We don't want things to be overly complicated, but these are complicated situations where you have buildings that are pre-existing, non-conforming. They've been here for decades. They've got difficult attributes to deal with between the sloping ledge. We haven't even talked about the variance yet. You've got sloping ledge, you've got sight lines, you've got a obsolete, wartime store block building that is completely, functionally obsolete today. Which is part of the reason why you see it in the condition that it is. So our goal is to design a building that's going to be flexible, not just for the first occupants that come in, but it's going to be able to serve the needs of the community for decades, we hope, with that flexibility, keeping the critical residential infrastructure off the first floor so that those first floors the first floor spaces can adapt and change to the market demands and the needs of the community over time. We would love to see it be retail. And I don't even want to go there because we really want to have both options. But, frankly, if we were forced to pick one option, I think we would be economically forced, and I don't want to speak for Chris, to take away the retail option and just go straight residential. And I don't think that's what the town wants. And this plan was designed to give us some flexibility to say, okay, if we can bring these tenants in, if we can get demand, this is what we'll do. And we're showing you exactly how we're going to do it. And if we're going to deviate at all from either of these two plans, we've got to present it to you and come back. So we don't think that's something that's too complicated or difficult or setting a bad precedent. We actually think it's setting a good precedent, as Brian pointed out, to allow the town to grow and evolve and revitalize from where it's been. We see businesses that are going in, they're beautiful businesses. We want to continue that and go up the street if it's possible. If it's not possible, we've got a plan to have residences, but that doesn't have to stay that way forever. It would be very easy to convert one of those into a commercial space if there was demand in the future when somebody moved out. So that's what we'd like to do. Board is willing.
But is that, so you're showing 3 retail spaces here. What if you find out you can only rent 1? Are you then going to put the other residences down to the first floor?
We would have to come back to you for a change. As it stands now, we would potentially have to come back to you for an amendment. You tell us, because you might have a tenant that wants to take 2/3 of the space. You don't know. If we were going to deviate from either of those plans, I will be back to you with a new floor plan saying, this is what we got. Do we have to come back and get an amendment to our permit? And you'll tell us yes or no. And if we want us to get an amendment, then we'll come back and we'll have the same kind of discussion about whether what we're proposing is acceptable. But we think that with these 2 floor plans, we're not leaving much chance, and we're locking ourselves into 2 options that both, as I said, easily meet that not substantially more detrimental standard.
But what if you do all the retail day 1? And then you decide you don't like it, and 2 years from now, you switch it out to this other plan with a residential?
That would be, if you're willing to approve that, we would have the right to do that.
We can make a
And that would-
condition, any change of
We can.
floor
If we
print,
approve 2, we can.
but in the, oh, sorry, I may be
What I was
wrong.
gonna request is that we have that flexibility, because what could happen is there might not be the retail demand. You could have retail stores that might not work, and that their leases could expire, and we might need to go back to residential. And again, like, if you look at things like the Zach's building, us at 21 Union Street with the small office, things change and evolve over time. And we think this has always been the general district where retail uses are allowed as of right, and residential uses are generally, up to, 2 families are allowed as of right. We're asking for 1 more. So we don't think we're asking for much different than what the general district has been all about for decades.
It's the flipping back and forth.
But Madam Chair,
Mr. Salson,
Ryan Sauls, 11 Central Street. I think we need flexibility. I'm not concerned at all about precedents. As a matter of fact, maybe that's what we're stuck in the mud with here. Okay, as retail evolves or devolves, okay, and as our town, if we want the town to prosper, we have to show some flexibility, and to say that we don't want to set a precedent, as opposed to showing potential investors in this community that we're willing to work with them. All right, I'm more concerned about throwing up roadblocks and people finally saying, I'm not moving to Manchester, I'm not going to do anything in Manchester. I would rather see us become flexible, user-friendly, and I'm not at all concerned about the precedents that you, or actually Ms. Philbrook, spoke to.
I don't disagree with that, Brian, but my concern is we have a bylaw that says they need a special permit for a change of use in a non-conforming structure. If we eliminated that provision, we wouldn't be here. And we wouldn't need to do this. And that's my concern.
My question is this, so and maybe I'm misinterpreting this, is that any change in the future, you still have to come back.
We would.
You're not taking
other than
any
those
bullets out of your,
We are, Brian. If we say as a town, we want retail, and therefore we're gonna approve this with 3 retail, oh, but if that doesn't work out, now it's gonna go residential.
As a town, we don't want empty storefronts either.
But it's, what goal are you trying to accomplish? And, I would say if we want to give the flexibility, amend the bylaw. Don't require them to come before us for a change of use.
You would default to 48 section 6 anyway.
In my mind, I think there's a way we could, if there is an approval on the table, I feel like there's a way we could structure that conditional approval to say you either have 1B or 1A with this date by this company, and if anything is changed by that, you need to come back to the zoning board, whether that's in 2 months, 6 months, 2 years.
We're asking.
That's the way I
That's
feel,
not
but
what you
that,
just said to me.
Yes, what we're asking for is, yes, to be clear, 1A or 1B, one or the other. We have to comply with either one, but we can comply with either. We could go back and forth between the two of them.
Right, that's my concern.
But if there were any
Go
change
back and forth.
from either of those plans,
If we approve both,
do you have
they can do this one in its entirety.
Yep.
Or this one in its entirety.
and I have no
If
issue with
they
either.
Start with this one, in 2026,
Yep,
and then
and there's no retailers and they're like, oh
they
god,
get retail in there.
yep.
And then 2 years later, the retail's not working out, they can switch to this without any additional proof.
So I think we put a condition in the permit of the variance or the special permit that says if there is to be a change of use from what is approved, whether it's 1 residential going up to 3 or 3 down to 1 or commercial, they need to come back and check in with us.
But I don't think we can do that if we approve 2 plans.
Okay, yeah, and I absolutely respect that because that's just my thought, but if it doesn't match the bylaw or town council or then I would
I mean,
say
I would
defer
rather
to that.
approve one of them. And if they get into construction and they do more marketing and say, oh, this one isn't gonna work, then come back to us for the other one. That's what I'm saying, rather than approving both up
and
front.
you will be approving the residential project, and there will be only one 445 square foot retail space, because we could not start construction and start marketing retail spaces. And we just, without having the approval, we just couldn't do it. And if you're only going to approve one of them, it's going to have to be the residential. The whole purpose of why we applied for these permits, because we had a 2-family plan that was approved by historic.
Yep.
That we could execute, but the whole reason to apply for these permits was because at every meeting, all we heard constantly was, we wish there were more retail, we wish there were retail. So we're trying to find a way to get some retail. We have some interest. And we want to have a plan that allows us to do the retail, but we could not execute a plan that had retail as the only option. It would not be economically viable. We couldn't do it. So we would be locking ourselves into the residential plan and 445 square feet of retail and losing 3,000 square feet of retail space without having to come back and do this all over again, which I don't think any of us are so eager to do. We want to preserve that opportunity. And again, we look at the test substantially more detrimental to the town in either of these scenarios. We don't see how it possibly can be substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing use. You've got a decrepit building that's obsolete, it's crumbling, it's got environmental hazards. And both plans, that's the key here, is that yes, you've got 2 plans that you're approving, but both of them meet the test. Both of them would be a substantial improvement to what's existing, let alone substantially more detrimental to a neighborhood that is filled with multifamilies, filled with businesses, and arguably needs more of them to bring some vitality up, back to the area. So we think either scenario is better, and by limiting it, we thought we were doing what you asked for by limiting it to very 2 specific concrete floor plans. If there's any deviation from either of those floor plans, we have to come back. But we want the right to try both of them and have both of them be approved under the special permit, which we've researched. I don't see anything in the bylaw that prevents you from issuing a special permit that allows that flexibility. As John pointed out, I mean, this is not uncommon in larger towns where you have mixed use projects where there are ranges of the square footages that are approved by boards. If other towns are doing it, it can't be a problem under 40A section 6, and our zoning bylaw mirrors 40A section 6. So I don't see any legal reason why you feel you can't do it.
What about the fact that a special permit expires in after 3 years? And so if you've done the construction on this basis and don't do this within 3 years, then it seems to me like this portion of the special permit could expire.
I don't think that's correct, because I think it's whether the test is whether you have executed and started construction. And the test under 48 section 6, it actually even says that when you're doing site work in preparation, that counts. So I don't think that once you have the special permit, it becomes part of the title to the property, and it would allow the property to have that flexibility. And again, we think that's going to be just a huge benefit to the town to allow that. And it's very similar to what is permitted today in the general district, where you have space that can go from residential to commercial. I mean, the only reason why, apart from the building, if this were 2 units, I mean, you wouldn't have some of those same issues.
If it was a conforming building.
Right. And
And
again,
I would argue that perhaps there aren't any conforming buildings in the downtown area along Beach Street. They go setback property line to property line. There's hardly any that would be conforming, I believe.
I think
So,
our house at
just-
21 across the street is conforming. Right across the street.
We got one.
I think the little white, well, actually, that's two on one lot, so that's.
I'm talking about the businesses.
Okay.
I'm talking about the businesses on Beach Street.
But yeah,
Because they're non-conforming structures, they can't change from retail to residential without approval. Because they're non-conforming structures. Unless they need
that may be
conform.
true, but I think there is very significant in case law in Massachusetts that would say that for the board to deny a change from a retail use to a residential use in one of those buildings would not be allowed. I mean, the Valley High case in Linfield is what stands for that. The residences do not cause harm. So even though technically, yeah, you'd have to come for, I suppose, for a change of use, granted.
Chinese food.
Man, I'm not having a problem with it. Probably the best option that we have for.
I think the problem that comes up is writing the decision. That's the only thing I could think of. And if that's something that seems more technical, that we need to consult. But that's the only reason I can think in my mind, laying it out, I am. But how we physically
For the
write
record,
that.
if we receive the zoning relief, we are very happy to draft that decision and provide it to you and work with legal counsel to make sure that it satisfies your requirements.
I would agree with that.
If council reviews the
Been there,
decision,
done
I'd be
that.
happy.
Been there, done that.
My gloves-
Didn't work out
all the
well.
time.
Didn't work. I was gonna say, how'd that go? Not good.
Glovsky's written them, hasn't he?
Yeah, that one didn't work so well.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's switch to the variance. Okay. So we talked about the variance at our last meeting. Correct, that the variance is a height variance because they're doing 3 stories instead of 2.5. And the reason it's 3 stories, not 2.5, is because the 3rd story is more than 2/3 of the level below it. Because the 2nd story, which is below the 3rd story, has
Appreciate that.
has parking on the back. So the floor plan of the 2nd floor, the footprint of the 2nd floor is substantially smaller than the 3rd floor. And the question is, do we have issues with that?
From what I took from the last meeting was that they gave us reasoning why soil shape topography is validated here for a variance, and
Because of the ledge.
yes, and I agreed with that.
So
So I am okay. with
we are all in.
Yeah.
Consistent with that,
Yes.
Mr. Well,
And perhaps we have absolutely no problem with that to support it.
thank you.
Thank you.
You talking about. I apologize.
Now you're besties, now you're besties.
It happens with real estate guys.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the middle of it.
You know,
I'll keep them away from
Can you also explain to us what paperwork we have that shows the second and third story consistent with these first floor plans? Because when I was looking through, it looked to me like what we had from, I could be wrong, but what we had from November 19th only reflected the 10-foot wide driveway. So have you provided us with paperwork showing the 12-foot wide driveway and the second and third floor plans?
Right, yeah, that's never been, it's always been 12 feet, we've never.
No, what I have says 10. From 11/19, 10 foot 0 inches is what's shown on the driveway. And that's the last plan.
Sure it's on?
It went here. They told us they were gonna increase it, but it's not, it's not
I'm
a,
sorry, I just saw area.
Yeah, it's on the zone.
Existing, John.
It's on this one.
what?
Does it fit on this thing?
I'm looking for floor levels 2 and 3
Oh, okay.
reflecting,
The driveway.
I'm wondering if that's.
right.
Is this-
That's,
The driveway's 10 feet. No, there's nothing that I can find.
I didn't
It shows
put that
a
one.
12
Because
foot
the
driveway?
building,
So the one.
if you're increasing the driveway to 12 feet, you change the footprint of the building a little bit, correct? To give you the 12
Yeah,
feet
correct.
for the building.
Yeah, so,
And I don't see anything I have,
yeah, like this does say the 10.4 that you're
Right.
mentioning, and then it goes to 14 feet up here. So you're gonna have to have the civil engineer update that background, because that's not
To
reflected.
the 1A plan that you're proposing. Show, reflecting this with.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
and would need elevations likewise.
Yeah, the architectural plans are reflective of the 10-foot or the 12-foot drive. This civil plan is not reflecting that. And if there's dimensional discrepancies, we can make sure those are updated for the final.
We just did the driveway needs to be 12 feet.
Well, you're telling us the driveway's gonna be 12 feet, and all I'm saying is on the 11/19 things we received, it reflected a driveway of 10 feet.
Isn't that reflecting the existing? Right, yes.
Yeah. No, it says increase to 12 feet. If this is 10, this is 10.
yeah, it's 10.
So you said the elevation and the architectural show 12, but the civil plan is.
Yeah, yeah, because it's 1A shows 12.
Yeah, that's-
What's this? 1A shows 12.
Yeah, but I'm looking for
Yeah, the whole architectural plan. Jeff.
the whole package,
Yeah.
reflecting the 12-foot driveway.
Can you just put a condition on that we need to send a revised physical plan that show reflects the full 12-foot driveway? I think it's just a matter of really doing.
It is the second floor deeper into the lot than the first floor,
On the west side.
Family trim.
a rear.
The second floor deeper into the lot and what's reflected on the plans? What's the question?
I'm trying to line up all of the documents we have and I'm not sure what's consistent is my problem. And you're on the first floor, you're showing 36.5 inches, and I have something showing a second floor, which doesn't give me any dimensions, so I can't tell.
Oh yeah, the corner room, the covered room, where they like cut off that frontage on the left.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about here and here. I don't know. There's no dimensions to know, is this floor plan on the second floor the same as the first floor? And the cars behind it, or what?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, they're not showing the floor level comparison with the.
All stacked, so the.
So it'd be the
first
same.
Floor and the second floor are stacked, then the third floor overhangs the open air parking spaces.
Yeah, let me show you what I'm looking at and why it's confusing. So here you have a floor plan with all the dimensions. Then I have this one. With zero dimensions. So I can't figure out how this stacks with this.
My apologies,
brother. I'm sorry too.
Yeah. No, you're really.
We need all the dimensions.
I just want to make sure some kid doesn't get run over.
I hear you as well, interior.
So you can't tell from this, is all this parking behind here? That's what I'm
Well, that's
saying.
right, it's,
You're telling me that, but there's nothing on the plan that tells me.
Well, this is all buried into the hillside, so the parking is.
showing the elevation, didn't you have side elevations that, I thought there were side elevations in the full plan set that was submitted on the 19th.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the one.
Yeah, that elevation.
Yeah. That's part of the front panel.
It should be,
It's in that.
it should be, if it's the first one.
Yeah.
This is October 17th.
But it shows. Yeah, this is October 17th.
The other night.
That he's changed it. The October 17th has 10-foot driveway, so it's a different footprint now.
That's back. That's not showing the driveway. The actual building is 12 feet away. Not showing your required zoning.
So the red line is the setback.
It says setback.
But you said you've done it to 12 feet.
So you're looking at the roof plan and there's an overhang of the roof. So the actual drive is under the overhang, if that makes sense.
Back now. Like.
Just the first floor wall.
Crazy.
The overhang.
Which is that double red line.
First, I can see girls.
First, the third floor wall.
That's good. It's an overhang.
So we need all the dimensions to make it clear. Yeah. We gotta have. dimensions.
Because of that, because even in here, you got it where it says 10-foot wide driveway.
Right,
Yeah, that's the existing.
but you're showing the parking.
Which is showing, your overlay, yeah, so
Yeah,
it's.
that-
So it's just inconsistent as to what we have.
Yeah, if the shaded area is showing. Oh, yeah. Of the walls.
Mhm.
So I think we clarified, we just need more detail for our questions to see. Yeah.
Dimensions.
Did you just have that as a condition, you submit final plans that show those dimensions? Again, going back to the test, there's substantially more detrimental neighbors.
He doesn't want to continue. Do you get that feeling?
I agree.
We don't want to be doing demolition during the summer. 90 days.
That's also true.
90 days to potentially to get you a decision. It's a 20-day appeal period.
Right.
No one is gonna be happy if we've got an unsightly pit or.
In the peak of July.
Yeah.
Well,
So the,
But as a condition.
that'll be revised.
I think it's clear. I mean, it seems to us it's clarifications because when you start to overlay existing conditions in the way things are labeled, we can absolutely.
yeah, that's in the variance section where we're referencing the plans. 'Cause that's for the heights, so we need all three.
But again, it's, I mean, I don't think minor differences in, clarifying those plans are gonna have much effect on the fact that there's the hardship and you just take a look at it, and you're not gonna get a second, third floor that's gonna satisfy that 60%.
I don't care, Adam. The fact of the matter is we need to be able to attach to our decision and cite the dates of the documents we're attaching. And we don't have those dates because we don't have the documents. That's what I'm reacting to. I'm not reacting to, is it material? We just need it.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna include that, is that a condition? The final documents?
I mean, we can,
How we usually handle these types of things.
Done it in the past.
And you're gonna write this one.
Sure.
We're not playing.
Iron Glovsky to write it.
okay, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
What?
Please.
Your family's good.
It's well after my bedtime.
Getting on here too.
The first motion is, I move to close the public hearing.
I second that.
Second.
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Yes.
Colleen, Georgia.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We've done our deliberations, right?
I think so.
And it goes in.
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve the application of 22 Union Street LLC for a special permit under sections 4 and 12.5 of the zoning bylaw and or other relief as may be necessary for a change of use in a non-conforming structure from one retail unit to 3 residential units and up to 3 retail units.
Yeah. Like that.
At,
Actually, I think it would be,
No.
technically correct, I think it would be 1, 4, 3, because that's what corresponds.
2, 3.
Okay.
Oh,
Is
for
there a
1 or
scenario
3.
you have
Okay, got
two?
it. Okay.
I think we've committed that
Yeah.
I don't want to have a decision different than what the record is, and we presented you plans with 1, 4, 3.
That's why we have a lawyer.
Not your lawyer.
Okay.
That's why you have a lawyer.
And 1 or 3 retail units. At 22 Union Street, assessors map number 51, lot number 62 in District G, filed with the town clerk on October 20th, 2025, based on a finding that the proposed change of use provides adequate parking for the new residential units and is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the bylaw, and the use will not be substantially more detrimental or injurious to the neighborhood in which it is located than the existing retail use. and conditions under 12.5.2, the zoning bylaw for grant of a special permit have been met based on the following conditions. The residential units have interior access directly onto Union Street. Parking for 6 cars for the residential units is provided at the rear of the structure with adequate turning radius to avoid encroachment on the abutter's property as depicted on level 2 floor plan prepared by Van Stein Architecture / Interiors dated to be updated.
TBD.
To be provided.
Why don't you refer to the existing plan?
Yeah.
To be supplemented with actual dimensions.
Okay, to be revised with actual dimensions.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm citing the date November 19th, 2010. Since the existing retail unit does not provide off-street parking for clients, no off-street parking will be required for the retail units. We've done that before. All conditions required by the fire chief, including a dry hydrant and sprinkler system, are installed. The driveway is at least 12 feet wide and a subsurface snow melt system is installed and maintained to ensure no snow or ice buildup on the steep drive. An LED sign shall be installed at the top of the driveway to display detecting vehicles entering the driveway from Union Street. Or to detect. Okay. Landscaping along Union Street shall be installed and maintained and snow removed such that it does not impede sight lines from the driveway and along Union Street. The driveway shall not be used for commercial activities.
I think we need to be careful about the commercial activities. Driveway will not be used in connection with the commercial use of the project. We're not.
The driveway not used
Contractors or affect.
Or trash pickup or.
In connection with the commercial use. Of the building. Up 22 Union Street, let's make it specific. I'm reluctant to put something in about deliveries. I think that if we attempt to restrict deliveries to this building, we're impacting all the buildings. And I don't think that's worth it.
Then we're talking also UPS,
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Girl Scouts.
Water deliveries.
The footprint of the building shall be constructed in the location depicted on new mixed-use development prepared by Van Stein Architecture / Interiors dated 12/11/2025, number 1A or 1B. And then you said you were willing to have a condition that condo documents
Yeah,
will restrict.
the applicant will impose rules and regulations, either in a tenant handbook or condo documents, prohibiting all occupants of the project utilizing the common driveway for any use other than parking and access.
You got all that?
He's gonna give it to me.
Can I read it again?
No, do you have a copy of it?
I do.
Just give me the copy. You have a copy, you had all sorts of copies of them.
Well, I mean, but there's other stuff in here, so I don't wanna.
I just want to circle it.
Part of the record is that,
I just
We won't look
circle
at
it.
others.
Yeah,
I think it's,
okay. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Georgia seconds.
you're gonna do separate ones for the change in the structure and the variance?
Yeah, separate one, yeah, separate motion for the variance. Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
and Sarah votes yes. I further move to approve the application of 22 Union Street LLC for a variance under sections 5.5 and 12.3.3 of the zoning bylaw and other relief as may be necessary to allow a height of 3 stories where 2.5 stories is allowed, which does not exceed a height of 35 feet, owing to circumstances relating to the shape of the land and existing ledge, which does not allow for the second floor to be expanded and still allow for parking on the second floor, especially affecting such land and structures, but not generally affecting the zoning district G in which it is located. A literal enforcement of the provisions of this bylaw would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, and that the desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of the bylaw based on the following conditions. The building is constructed as depicted on plans, schematics prepared by Van Stein Architecture Interiors dated November 19th, 2025. Union Street elevation, west elevation, north rear elevation, and east elevation. As revised. What did we say before? As revised with actual dimensions. Is that okay? The proposed project shall be constructed in accordance with the floor plans prepared by Van Stein Architecture / Interiors dated November 19th. And 12/11. First floor, second floor, third floor, to all be revised to include dimensions. And what I would like is that they all have the same date. Anything else? More discussion. Do I have a second? John will second. Vote, Colleen.
Yes.
Georgia.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
And Sarah votes yes. I will write it and I will send it to you for review. How's that?
We can get it as soon as we can to avoid, people angry with us over.
It will be January.
Yeah. Perfect.
That's great, thank you.
Are people good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
We had another situation where an attorney drafted the decision. And it's been in the appeals court for 5 years.
That's not how I.
You don't want that. Oh, man.
I don't like going to court.
And I believe that too.
So we would like to avoid that.
Me too.
Yes. But we would like to be in agreement. Yeah. Okay.
No need to do the structure.
What?
We need to get a special permit to extend a pre-existing non-conforming structure. We just voted.
Oh, we did special permit for the
We did a
use,
special permit for the use.
the variance,
We need
and now,
Special permit to expand the pre-existing non-conforming structure and the driveway, which is, because you're going from 10 feet to 12 feet. It's a pre-existing non-conforming.
We need more control.
Driveway.
I want to rethink writing all these decisions now.
What?
You might want to rethink, we got writing these decisions.
I move to approve the application of 22 Union Street for a special permit under section, what is it, 7.2 and 12.5 of the zoning bylaw, and other relief as may be necessary to alter
Pre-existing non-conforming
a
building
pre-existing non-conforming building
and
and
common
driveway
driveway.
At 22 Union Street, assessors map number 51, lot number 62, District D, filed with the town clerk on October 20th, 2025, based on a finding that the proposed alteration is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the bylaw and will not be substantially more detrimental or injurious to the neighborhood in which it is located than the existing non-conforming building and driveway. And conditions under section 12.5.2 of the zoning bylaw for the grant of a special permit have been met based on the conditions approved under the special permit for a change of use.
great job.
Do I have a second?
That's it.
John seconds. The vote.
Yes.
John, Sean,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Georgia.
Yes.
Sarah votes yes.
Nice work, Sarah.
BT, whatever. it's
Yeah,
called.
I know, exactly. You didn't.
Oh, geez, well, I'll be able to read my
I
notes.
know. At least we can watch it back, hopefully.
Oh, that's right, I'll get the,
Yeah.
he's fast up.
Okay, she's been very.
So we good?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate your patience, flexibility. Thanks for everything down.
You've been eating fun.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We don't have to try those. Minutes from November 19th, 2025. The people have a chance to review those.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve them. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, Colleen?
The only edit I would edit, my name is not on it. So the only edit. was-
Good edit. That's a good one.
You actually read those?
Did.
I handed them to her in
I'm like, oh, wait, I did.
I
read
had-
them. You're so excited.
Catherine Howen.
It's like you knew it was coming.
Catherine said it's okay, it's okay.
It's amended to include Colleen Moore as an attendee.
Thank you.
I vote yes. Yeah.
George, yes. John,
Yes.
John. Sarah votes yes. Applications for the next meeting.
Oh, good luck.
None, right?
Put your seatbelts
Oh,
on.
come on, Sarah.
They're making Kalis.
Crosby's shutting down redevelopment.
Into condos.
Yeah.
2 Blossom Lane.
Oh, yes, I read that appeal.
An appeal of an administrator's decision.
Yeah, the building inspector said there was no zoning violations. They're appealing that, but they already went to, are we still on
They've
TV? I don't wanna.
Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't really looked at
I
what,
read the whole thing.
haven't really looked at what
Yeah.
was received, so I'm not exactly sure.
I skimmed it.
It's coming out of the lawsuit. that
Yeah,
is
off
still
the land
ongoing.
and dispute, yeah.
Still ongoing, yeah, so.
All right, well, we'll deal with that.
Anybody have
next month.
anything else?
No,
Take a
ma'am.
motion to
What's
adjourn.
the date of the,
Motion to adjourn.
January 22nd.
22nd?
That's the next meeting?
Yeah.
Parks and Rec is going
Yes.
first.
What?
Is that the only thing on the docket?
Yes, nothing else has come in.
Even like going, a bunch of people on that sheet.
January 28th.
Okay, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah. Can we turn the TV on? Can you hit leave?
I'm new with this, I still have to.
You haven't followed the meeting yet.
Yes. But return.
Oh, so thank you. I make
Terry,
a
you
motion to adjourn.
Motion to, I second that.
Second.